been receiving comments with regards to the accessories that I use with my iPad setup, and I've made videos with regards to my full iPad desk setup that's still pretty relevant with my setup right now, as well as a video talking about why the iPad has become my main creative device. But I received this comment and I thought, you know what, that's actually a good idea. So here's a quick rundown of all the accessories that I use with my iPad in my art and content creation work. But first, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Ange. I'm a full-time artist and keyframe animator that loves sharing her creative journey and the stuff that she learns along the way with you guys. So if you like videos like these, then hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in more videos. But now, let's get to the rundown. First things first, we gotta start with the iPad that I use, which is a iPad Pro 12.9-inch M1 2021. For the first and most important accessory, the Apple Pencil 2. The Apple Pencil is made of smooth material, which means it can slip from your hands. It also has a pretty thin build, so I prefer putting a silicone case that would help thicken the build as well as avoid it from slipping on my hands or the table. Next up is screen protector. I usually use two brands, and the current one that I'm using is gifted by Paperlike. Now here's the other brand that I use, which is more smoother and matte textured, which sometimes I actually prefer, so I tend to alternate between the two. Now for the additional accessories, we're gonna start with my favorite, which is my iPad board stand. This has a perfect angle for everything, whether you work on your desk, a standing desk, or even if you draw on the couch and prop a pillow, it'll have just the right angle that you need with stability and a healthy armrest so that you can draw longer and healthier. And I checked that the 13-inch iPad Pros actually fit here because as you can see, there's still enough allowance outside the borders, and the fact that the 13-inch actually just has thinner bezels than the 12.9. And there are two slots for the Apple Pencil, and something that you need to take note of is that you need to make sure that your Apple Pencil is not constantly in the charging position because it actually drains battery from your iPad. So whenever I charge my Apple Pencil up top and it gets full, I put it on the left side. Next is Apple Pencil nibs. As I do almost draw every day, I tend to wear them out pretty quickly than usual. So I tried exploring some third-party nibs, and honestly, I do still like the Apple Pencil nibs, so I still keep them. But I also tried this one in particular, the one with the metal tip, and unfortunately, as much as I love it because it looks so good, it actually doesn't work well with the pressure sensitivity because it can go haywire when it comes to how much pressure, or if you tilt your Apple Pencil, it's unpredictable, so in a way it's pretty difficult. This is probably good for writing instead of drawing. And then Paperlike sent me this to try out, and I have to say, this is actually very durable. It's lasting me way longer, and I'm using it in more rougher protector like Paperlike, and it works. It actually really works, and since I've changed into these, I still haven't had to need to replace the nib. As for this one, this is an extra accessory just so that I can get organized with my nibs since I did try some stuff out and I didn't want to lose them. Next up, my keyboard shortcut accessories. It's not completely necessary to have these, but I do find it very efficient because I don't need to stop drawing because all the shortcuts are already being navigated by these devices and I just can keep going. I actually tried it with the keyboard first. Unfortunately, I'm not really good at memorizing since I tend to switch between keyboards, so the layout changes and there's too much distance that it just makes me look at the keyboard instead of the screen. I made a full dedicated video for both of these where I show how I set them up as well as what they're compatible with. A quick summary, they both have their own apps wherein you set them up and create multiple profiles of different apps and shortcuts. Speaking of profiles, here are some of them. You can pause the video so you can take a screenshot of how I set mine up. And here's a demo of how it's like when I'm editing, especially when I'm cutting clips. I find them both easy to switch between apps, but Tourbox definitely has an upper hand considering it's the more pricier one because its full-feature multi-combo keyboard shortcuts is very powerful. Also, the fact that it's compatible on the iPad, PC, Mac, and recently, Android. As for my setup shortcuts, it's easier to share because I can actually send a file which I will put in the description below. You can download it from there if you have a Tourbox. Here's a glimpse on how many combos of keyboard shortcuts you can make here, as you can see on the app. These two are perfect combinations of indoor and outdoor work accessories. An accessory that I realized I haven't talked about before is an iPad case. Because I draw outside as well, I have tried multiple cases, but there are some issues with some of them, which is weight as well as limited drawing angles. But I finally found my favorite and the most flexible of them all, Moft. Specifically, their dynamic folio case, which is designed in origami style, which is so creative. And not only that, it actually helps lessen the weight because I find that some that have magnetic style cases tend to be on the heavier side. So this one is a good balance with weight, especially as something that is magnetic as well as sturdy. And yes, there's an iPad mini version too. The only thing you really need to think about this case is to memorize the different folding methods. And honestly, I find that fun because my childhood hobbies were doing origami, so I think it's really cool how they were able to implement that concept into an iPad or tablet case. I love this case so much that I want to give it some time and show you the cool different folds as well as orientation and angles that it can do. Now it's time for my desk setup accessories. Focusing on connecting my iPad to a monitor. Yes, just a monitor, no PC, no Mac, no laptop or anything. We're gonna start with Airplay, which is just a screen mirroring of your iPad screen to a monitor. For wireless connectivity, I'm using my 2010 Apple TV. Yes, my 16-year-old Apple TV still works well and it blows my mind, which is why I love Apple because the longevity is absolutely mind-blowing. Connected to the monitor via HDMI cable. A bonus feature is that if you're using an iPhone, you can also mirror your iPhone. So sometimes what I do is I connect my iPhone to the monitor so that I'll have my references spread out in the external monitor while I just draw on my iPad. Here's a Procreate tip and feature that you've probably seen me use, which is Project Canvas. It works on both Airplay and adapter method. This is where you'll see the full canvas even while you're zooming in and out and drawing on the iPad. Now, for the next method, we're gonna need a USB-C to HDMI adapter. I prefer using Apple's original adapter just because it gives me assurance of its future compatibility with the device. I also prefer the one that has 3 inputs, which is power, HDMI, and USB. The USB is good for other accessories, specifically the mic that I'm currently using as I record this video on the iPad. There are some alternatives that you can use, but I suggest that you check the reviews first before trying them out. The issue that I have with some of these is that sometimes the power input is different, so just be careful with that. And of course, an HDMI cord, which is pretty standard, so it's easy to get them. This will unleash the full potential of the iPad Pro, specifically the M series. Because besides being able to mirror your iPad screen to a monitor, you can also use the iPad in its desktop mode using Stage Manager. You can even do regular desktop stuff on the monitor while you draw on the iPad. And since we're talking about desktop, here are some accessories that I utilize when I use Stage Manager. I have some inexpensive keyboards, but this one is my favorite. This is actually gifted to me and probably the priciest keyboard that I have. What I love about it is the fast switching between devices from my Mac and iPad. And of course, my favorite mouse, which is a trackpad. This one is a second-hand purchase, which I'm sure you can find some. So I got it for 50% its original price, and it's definitely worth it because it's perfectly compatible with the iPad, including the hand gestures. If you're used to a mouse instead of a trackpad, you can use both USB or Bluetooth, as long as your adapter has one. Most of the apps that I use are pretty good now in desktop version compared to before. So you'll see it act like this and adjust, which is pretty fun. Here's a good sample of why having a power input in the adapter is good, because Stage Manager can be pretty draining on the battery. Not quickly, but it does happen, especially for heavier apps. So as you can see, this works perfectly fine and safe. Here's another extra accessory, which is a hand rest, which is pretty good, especially with trackpad, since your wrist tends to be in a way lower angle. So yeah, I like this and it's cute. For extra power, especially mobile, this is what I use as my power bank. This is 26,000 plus milliampere. It can fully charge an iPad Pro and an iPhone once. At home, I also use this as the power bank to power up my cooling fan that I put behind the iPad most of the time during hot weather, so that it avoids the iPad from overheating, which would then protect the battery. Another accessory that I use is my mic that I use for voiceovers. It's connected via USB, and it's what I'm currently using now. What I love the most about it is the light indicator that tells me if the mic is on or off. And here's the latest addition to my setup, which is a printer. And I use wireless because it's pretty cool to just air print. Here's a sample that I printed from Procreate. Probably the best investment I've made recently. And that's the latest rundown of my current iPad accessories. I hope that this video has given you enough information. I did my best to make it as short as possible. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video. So now let's all go out there and make some art.